Yo, what's up guys, it's RJ, welcome back. Today, taking a look at another pair of sneakers. You read the title, I know why you're here. No need for the introduction, you've seen them. They're all over the place, the hype is real. Let's check out the Yeezy Boost 350 V2 Creams. Served up on that notorious brown box, there they are, the V2 Creams. So if you've been in the sneaker game for any amount of time over the past 2 years, you know what this shoe is, you know the hype behind it, you know how hard they are to get, and in my opinion, this is definitely one of the freshest colorways to drop thus far. These are the triple whites, the creams, the cocaines, whatever you want to call them. And in hand, they don't disappoint at all. I gave you a little bit of intro footage right before this. You saw what they look like up close. And I'm telling you, until you get them in hands, you really don't recognize the detail that they possess. Adidas and Kanye did an amazing job on this colorway in particular. I'm sure everybody out there has had a chance to check out a V2 350 at some point, but I figured let's break down the construction of this shoe, get a little more in-depth with it. Hopefully, if there's any questions anybody out there has, it'll answer a few of those and give you just a little more in-depth look at the 350 Boost. These have been murdered to death on YouTube. There's probably not a whole lot that hasn't been talked about thus far, but this is only my second pair. My first pair were the Breads. I've got another video coming on those just about how that came about. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into the creams. So first and foremost is that prime knit upper. From the toe box all the way to the heel panel, everything complete prime knit. You've got the now iconic rope laces that have come on every V2 thus far. I believe all the V1s had ropes as well. Like I said, I struck out on every single one of those, so I haven't had a chance to hold a V1 in person, as crazy as that might sound. Anyway, cream color ropes match a few of the cream hits throughout the shoe. The V2s and any other 350 out there doesn't have really a tongue per se. You know, it's just kind of a booty. Two pieces sewn up right down the middle, continues back down the heel panel. And while we're back here, you got the pull strap. The strap has actually only been featured on 3 V2s thus far. You've got first the Breads, then the Zebras, now the Creams. The strap did come on every single V1 that dropped, but the first I believe 4 V2s that came out didn't include it for whatever reason. It also is a telltale sign when you're doing legit checks on a few different colorways, so keep that in mind. On the back panel inside, you got the 3 stripes. Those are 3M, so they are reflective. While we're inside the shoe, you can see both left and right inner sides have cushion right there on the heel. The rest of the interior of the shoe isn't necessarily cushioned like the back panels are, but it's prime knit, it's soft. There's a little bit of reinforcement in there to protect the prime knit a bit. Inside the lacing system, you got suede panels right there. Kind of helps the laces move back and forth a little bit more smoothly. As most of my Boost shoes, I do pull the insoles out of the V2s as well. The Boost is soft enough for me, and it just feels a lot better that way. Some people like the insoles. I don't dislike them. I just choose to pull them out. Another thing to take a look at is this little piece right here. Right around the collar of the shoe right here, it does kind of overlap, and that's where, you know, one side of the fabric meets the other. A lot of people use that as a legit checker as well. I'm not too familiar as to what the fakes have that the authentics don't. These ones actually came from Adidas directly, so obviously I know they're legit. I don't know a whole lot about this colorway yet. The Zebras were crazy. There was a whole lot of fakes and they were looking fairly legit, so I haven't seen a whole lot of fakes on these yet. I think the majority of the fakes for this colorway have been out for months and months, so I'm sure there's a few things here and there that the authentics have that the fakes don't. Unfortunately, I haven't familiarized myself with the fakes in this colorway yet, but I might do that down the line and maybe pick up a pair of fakes, compare and contrast. But anyway, let's move to this midsole. The midsole on all V2s does have a protective layer or a rubber layer that does cover the Boost. This is a 3-part layer. You got one on this side, one on this side, and if you take a look on the back panel, that middle piece is slightly different in coloring, and that wraps all the way through the bottom of the shoe, all the way up to the front of the toe box. Again, that off-white color right there, that variation is another way to legit check the shoe. If you've got a pair of these and there is no contrasting color right there on that heel panel, definitely fake. So keep that in mind. I do know that. That was definitely the same on the Zebras as well. Taking a look at the bottom of the shoe again, you got that classic Yeezy mold, visible boost right there on the forefoot, more visible boost right below the heel. You got the Boost logo directly underneath the heel. You've got an Adidas logo right there on the toe. The Supply 350 logo that has been featured on every V2 this far is there. Super hard to show up on camera, so I'm not sure that is showing up at all, but the SPLY 350 is there, both inside and out. There was a lot of sizing variation in the V1s, but the V2s run very true to size. I think the Belugas, the first V2 that came out, might be the only one that runs just a tad bit big, but I do wear a 10.5 in Ultra Boost 1.0s and 2.0s, and that's the same for both the V2s that I have, the reds and the whites. I believe the Zebras are the same exact sizing. So as far as sizing goes, definitely go true to size. Now touching a little bit on comfort and stability, the shoe's ridiculously stable. As you can see, looking at that toe box, super wide up here. Not a whole lot of people are doing much more than walking in these. I don't think anybody's actually using them to run. I may take them on a run just to see what they feel like eventually, but just to get around every day, there is a ton of stability in this shoe, both on the front and the back of the shoe. Cushioning, obviously right below the foot, you've got all that boost all through the bottom of the shoe. The only thing that kind of takes away from that cushion is this outer rubber shell, but that doesn't necessarily make the shoe uncomfortable. It just doesn't give you as much cushion as you would with a, let's say, I guess you just don't feel as much of that cushion as you would with an Ultra Boost or the EQT 9317s. But overall, the 350 V2s are definitely a comfortable shoe. I think the majority of Boost shoes that are coming out are comfortable. I haven't really put anything on that I've really disliked as far as the comfort level goes. Obviously, there's a ton of hype around this shoe, a ton of hype around really anything that Kanye is doing. It's hard to say if it wasn't branded by Kanye or didn't have his name associated with it, if I would have that much love for it. I think that's kind of a social thing. I think that's kind of just how the world works. I've always been a huge Kanye fan, since the first time I heard any of his music. So that kind of transcends into the shoes that he produces. I've always been a fan of his shoes as well. Fortunately, I'm lucky enough to have a couple pair of them. If I could, trust me, I'd have every 350 that was ever released. I'm a big fan of them. So my recommendation is, if you can't get them at retail and you can't afford them, why not, man? Add them to the collection. I think the triple whites or the creams right here are definitely one of the top V2s that have come out, if not one of the top colorways that Kanye has released thus far. So for those of you who are here doing legit checks and seeing if you can figure out if your pair is legit or not, I figured I'd pull out the insole. Again, this pair is directly from Adidas. Right there, you've got the Adidas Yeezy branding. Nothing else right there on the front. Moving to the bottom of the insole, you've got that Adidas branding right there underneath the heel. That's surrounded by a bunch of circle dots. You got the same pattern that every other Yeezy has had right there on the middle of the insole. Again, under the forefoot and on the toe, you've got more of those dots right there on those panels, as well as the same pattern that's on the middle of the insole. Lastly, on the arch support, you've got what appears to be some sort of serial number as well. If you look closely, there is a chunk taken out of the insole right there, and that's pretty typical on any Yeezy insole. Some of them are cut a little more jagged. Hopefully that helps a few of you out there who wanted to see the insole. As far as the box tag goes, that's that right there. Again, directly from adidas.com. And guys, those are the 350 V2s. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. That's gonna do it for me today. As always, I really appreciate you checking everything out. And until next time, peace out.